Right, you guys ready?
Comics presents.
Alex, not yet. Lauren, what are you doing?
Making everything look sexy and chilling.
By the way, I don't want to eat anyone's thumbnails.
Thanks, Nick May, for that's super helpful. Can we just get the show going?
Comics net, net. Is it Comics Net AU? Or,
Are you ready for drinking? Drawing? What about laughing? Well, hold on to your crumpets. It's season 2 of the Comics Friday Night Drink and Draw, with your hosts Sizzle and Spedsy, and the man they call Quick, plus Australia's most attractive artists and creators, many of whom have books for sale at comics.shop. Alright Dave, you can start drawing.
Yeah, if you can make sense of it, good luck. Happy Friday night, drink and draw, everybody. Tonight we are doing Homelander, and our special guest is Hadyn himself, here to talk about satellites.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Comics proudly presents to you the drinking and drawing champions of the world, the Sizzmeister Shane Siddle. It's Spedsy right next to him, and then we have the quick Nick Cleary, the saddle-slapping Robbie Donaldson, the sloppy Alex Major. That ain't no talking horse, Ed Kearsley. That ain't no Dinky the horse, it's Dave Dye, the man in the middle, Lee Chalker, and of course, Hadyn Spurrell. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoa! Oh, that was Rob's best.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I left no time for hellos, so please, everybody, take a quick 5 minutes each and say hello. Go.
Hello.
Go.
G'day. Hey, Nick, what are you doing outside of the camera?
Nailed it. All right, so we're here to draw Homelander, he of the boys. Now, there's a mad bastard if ever I met one. So let's chat. Let's talk the boys. Who here has watched the show? Who knows? Who's read the comic? Who knows the guy? Who knows nothing?
I know nothing.
I just know the show.
We've got 2 nothings.
Show.
I've read
always going to go with
most
nothing.
of the comic, and I've watched half of the first season. So that's where I'm
Okay.
at.
Right.
I just know the comics.
So Ed, have you watched the show as well, or no?
No, I just read the comics. There's my friend who got me into Preacher. I went to his house one day and he had the boys. He's like, check out this new Garth Ennis book, and he had the first trade. And then when I was at the comic shop later on, I saw the second one, so I bought that and then lent it to him after he'd lent me the first one, and then he got the third one, and then we went back and forth. And so I've got 9, 7, and 11 are the only ones I've still got. So I don't know if he's got the other ones or what, but I've read up to part 12 of the trades.
Oh, yeah.
Are they good? They good,
Yeah.
mate, or what?
They're fun. They're pretty gross. Like it's ultra violent. Like Garth Ennis really hates superheroes, so he's like just taking pot shots at the. It's like what would superheroes be really like, and they're like childish rock star people because they can do anything, so they basically do. It's kind of the concept of it.
Yeah, right.
One of the most terrifying characters on television at the moment. Now, quick, just for a bit of fun to spice up the start of the episode here. So one of the sort of takeaways from the boys that I had is obviously it's Garth Ennis's version of the Justice League, like a crazy real-life version or whatever, what have you. So who here in this room, everybody here is a member of the Justice League. Who is who? Who's the Superman, the Batman, the Wonder Woman, etc.?
Does that include the Super Friends as well, or just?
Well, we at least need the main 5, and then a couple of Marvin the Mash.
One of them had a dog.
Marvin the Mash Eater. I don't know why I can't say his name.
Good old Marvin, the Mash Eater.
The Mash Eater. That's a new one.
Mashed potato and pea. Yeah.
What do you got, quick? Let's start with the top. Who's Superman in this group?
You're the captain, Rob, so you kind of get Superman, even though you're trying really hard to be Batman tonight.
Yeah, Batman totally wears his own merch.
Yeah, he does.
Just like you.
All right, so I'm Superman. So I'm the all-round good guy. So who's the Batman to my Superman?
Mate, here we go. I'll tell you what, it's not Alex. Alex is more of a Robin.
No, I'm more of a. I think, like, going from the Star Wars thing last week, I reckon I'm more of the spaceship that they all fly.
Nick May is Wonder Woman's invisible jet because he's not here tonight.
Oh, not bad. I reckon Dave Dye, the mentor, he's probably got that Marvin Mash Eater presence about him.
Right. It's funny because I had him pegged. Dave would probably be my Superman, I think, and you would have to be Batman.
Oh yeah, how am I the man bat?
Well, for starters, you're probably the only one who could wear the cowl and like don't have a monstrous beard or mustache sticking out.
That helps.
Well, who's the Wonder Woman? Anyone want to put their hands up to be Wonder Woman in our Justice League?
Well, this beard, I'm probably Wonder Woman.
Oh.
And now help me out. Is Wonder Woman bulletproof? I've asked this on the show before.
I think in the latest version she is.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right. So who's the Flash? I feel like Lee would be the anti-Flash.
Quick, Nick, it's in his
Why
name.
is he slow?
Oh, that makes sense.
Taking them all.
Flash.
I'm taking them all tonight.
Yeah.
Anti-Flash.
All right. Green Lantern would be Robbie because the Hal Jordan, even though Hal Jordan doesn't really have a mustache, but I feel like he would if he could.
Isn't he the worst one? Is that why he chose me?
No, he's the most. Isn't he? No, Guy Gardner's the worst one, I think.
Yeah, Guy Gardner.
That's fair.
For those tuning in, we are drawing the Green Lantern tonight. What? No. Well, so one of the deals with Homelander is that he has all of Superman's powers, but sort of none of his moral code and whatnot. And he's yeah. So Dave, tell me, how easily would you be corrupted if you had Superman's powers? Would you necessarily use them for good the entire time, or could you find yourself being swayed to the dark side?
Look, I'm pretty boring. I'd say I'd probably be a pretty good, nice fella. But wouldn't it be nice if I said, no, I'd go rob the first bank I could find? But no, in reality, I'd probably go and go over to Moscow, grab Putin by the neck and say, listen, mate, wake up yourself. Get all those people out of there. And let's finish this thing off. It stops now. All right? That's if I was Superman, I'd do that.
Fucking hell, Dave just wrote his own comic, Dave Lander.
Dave Lander's better than Home Die. Yeah, that doesn't really work.
Home Guy.
Oh, Marvin the Mash Eater.
Marvin the Martian.
It's the Mash Eater.
Hayden, do you reckon you would be corrupted if all that power would go to your head?
Probably. I mean, I'm wondering whether you only got me in as the token blonde guy that looks the most like Homelander in this room. I'm wondering what you're saying about me. What do you really think, Rob?
Yes, you are a fragile egomaniac, as far as I can tell. Yeah. Have you got blue eyes?
I do.
Oh, shit.
Hitler will love me.
Put that on your
personality or
who's to say?
Quick, are you corruptible, mate?
I'm pretty stoic. One of my things I loved about myself growing up is that I just never crumbled to peer pressure. It became like a title, like, oh, don't bother with Nick, you can't crack him. And then that became the persona. It's like, nah, I'm not going to do those dumb things. You can't encourage me to be that guy. And it was kind of like people told me I was that, and I became that. It was great. So
Nick
no,
the uncrackable.
Irrecrackable.
Irrecrackable. Nick the Irrecrackable. Wow, that is a horrible wrestling name. But go with it.
That's Dave Dye's next comic.
And in the left corner, Nick,
Irrecrackable.
the irrecrackable Cleary. Are you corruptible, Lee?
Oh, fucking A.
Didn't have to think about it. Love it.
Come on, man. It's like, I don't know. I reckon I'd have some fun, if I didn't have like conscience and stuff like that, the things you could do. But anyway, he certainly is an interesting fellow, Homelander. So, yeah, I don't know if I could be like Superman in any way. I think, the things you could do. But anyway, I'd rather not delve into too much of my plans for world domination when I gather these powers. So on to the next person.
Alex Major, I think you were corrupted a while ago, yeah? Or what do you think?
Well, depending. I've worked for the Chinese government before, so my moral compass is definitely questionable.
Well, now this is a question I think Ed would be really good at. What other sort of takes on superheroes have there been that are sort of like an analysis of the superhero? Obviously, The Watchmen is probably the big one. Now, Ed, help me with this. Were the Charlton characters originally meant to be your Supermans and Batmans, etc., or did they come before? Help me out.
The Charlton stuff was because like Ditko did Blue Beetle, so that was after Spider-Man, so it was after the 60s, so they might have been like substitutes for the DC characters, but they were kind of their own thing.
Okay. And then so with the Watchmen being a version of the Charlton characters, so it's not really all roads lead back to Justice League, like I think.
I'm not sure, but I know the Alan Moore wanted to use the Charlton characters because they just got the license, but then they said you can't use them for like the more mature sort of subject matter in the Watchmen, so you have to make up new ones. So he just transplanted or made surrogate characters for them.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
So what other Superman type rip-off characters can people think of? Hyperion for Marvel being from Squadron Supreme.
Invincible.
Invincible's
a good one.
The Supreme from Rob Liefeld. Just
big time. Yeah.
The Superman ripoff.
That's an interesting take. A religious nut with Superman's powers.
Wasn't that Alan Moore as well?
Yeah, he did end up writing it.
The Plutonian from Irredeemable. It's one that Pete actually showed me. I think Dark Horse released it. I think it would be a similar.
That one.
I think it would be a similar character to the Homelander. He's just a Superman nut job.
Yeah, I haven't read those books, but I know there's the Incorruptible, and then there's the Irrecrackable Nick Cleary one. Irredeemable.
Irrepressible.
Oh, the Samaritan from Astro City.
Yeah, I've never read that, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
I remember that being a very good comic. I've got those first issues. I bought them years ago, man, and like I enjoyed that immensely. The artwork in that work's awesome as well. I think his name was Brent Anderson from memory. Did an X-Men graphic novel called God Loves, Man Kills, or something to that effect in the 80s. Brilliant artwork. I really enjoyed that. Good comic. Go and grab them.
What about, I can't remember how to say the artist's name, Superior, which was a Mark Miller book with, I'm just trying to look it up. It's Francis something or other.
Is that Lean or You?
Yeah, oh, that's it, yes. Have you read that, Ed?
No, but I know the artist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always silly when an artist that I
There's
really
a movie
like.
version as well, Brightburn, which is an interesting take on Superman.
Yeah,
I haven't heard of that.
Oh, okay. Brightburn's a cool movie. It's sort of where he's sent to Earth to sort of do the opposite of Superman, not save the Earth, but pretty much destroy it. So,
is that true? I thought he was. Well, you might be spoiling it, but I think he just doesn't know why he's there and just happens to be a bit messed up. Like a strange.
Okay, I took it as the whole wasp bee analogy that they have at the beginning. So
Sure. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
where the wasp is put into the bee's colony to destroy it from within.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a crazy film because that kid could see through walls, and he was going through puberty. He kept like those biology books of human flesh and stuff because he was sort of like
Yeah, it was full on.
Weird relationship with women. Yeah, because he could see through them. Weird film.
Yeah,
a fun spin on Superboy.
Fun, interesting,
Yeah.
interesting tone.
It was made by the Guardians guy. What's his name? Mr. Gunn.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Pretty sure.
Did you watch? He did another one too. I think it was him. Super, with Rainn Wilson, played a superhero.
Was it Super?
Was it called that?
He had a hammer and stuff. Yeah. There's a little reference to it actually in that film. Very small one.
Yeah, right. I mean, and Slither. I don't know, but Slither's got nothing to do with superheroes, but it's freaking awesome.
Have you seen we're going off topic. Have you seen the Peacekeeper TV show?
No, I haven't. I didn't love the movie, the Suicide Squad movie, so I didn't bother.
It's it feels like Slither a lot.
Yeah, right.
You can tell James Gunn's got his little favorite things he likes to do.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, to me, it feels like you revisit Slither with some new characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. It's pretty fun.
All right. So a thing in the boys show is this thing called Compound V, which can give you powers for 24 hours. And now there can be horrible side effects. But still, the question remains, Sizzle.
Yep.
Would you take Compound V?
Yeah, I reckon I'd risk it. I've done sillier things in my life.
Now we're going to do an experiment here. So take a sip of the Compound V right now.
This it?
Yep.
Yep. All right. There we go. So
we all do it.
You've just been granted super strength. Congratulations. But you also got leprosy. So,
nice.
Up to you whether you think that was worth it or not.
Does leprosy only last for 24 hours as well?
Yes, fortunately, but it's a bit too late when all your things have dropped off. So,
oh well, I'll get into some trouble in the time I've got left then.
My thought was to do that, to go right around the room and ask that, but I've started off with such a wrong one. I'm just like, nah, there's no way of doing that without offending someone. Who are offended? Would anybody else? Would you take Compound V? Would you have superheroes for a day?
Yes.
Superpowers for a day. I mean,
definitely.
But there could be horrible side effects. Well, good work, Nick. You can now fly, but your junk has grown to 20 feet long.
So you better fly
like
high.
An anchor.
On the ground.
It has knuckles though, so you can bend it. All right.
Oh,
and what's the bad news?
Hang on, I don't understand. You said there's
I
side
don't
effect,
know.
not 2 superpowers.
Yeah, I'm just watching the viewer count go blip down. Robbie, would you take Compound V?
Of course.
You would.
Yeah.
Well, you are now invisible, so good work. You are hideously deformed at the same time, but you're invisible, so I guess it doesn't matter.
That's fine.
Who would ever know?
Too, such a good-looking man, so hideously deformed. It's like, why couldn't it have happened to someone else?
You looking at me when you said that?
I was going to call someone out, then I thought, I've offended enough people. Alex,
Yes.
you've got a rare form of Compound V where you can actually choose what power it gives you and the side effect, but it has to be a bad side effect. So what power are you getting, and what's the bad side effect?
Geez, I don't know. Like, I haven't thought about what kind of bad side. Because like, if I have to pick something, So something that'll be bad, but really not that bad. Like, for instance, like, oh no, I lose the ability to walk, but I can still, then I have an excuse to not go out and just play video games. So that's my disability, lose the legs. And then I get flying capabilities. There you go. So I don't even need legs.
You still have to go out.
Sorry?
You still have to go out. Your missus wouldn't be like, "Oh, feeling pity for you. This dude can fly, man. Just whip down the."
Oh crap! Yeah, you're right. Then you're right. Then I'm not flying. Screw that. I still got dummy legs, but then instead I'll have I don't know, read minds, I suppose, and just annoy people. Just know what they really
choose. Spetsy chooses. This is the game we're playing.
Yeah, I didn't realize the one you took the wrong one, Alex. You've actually got 14 testicles now, so
some people would call that a bonus.
12 of them are hanging from your earlobes. So
there you go, squeeze.
That's the level of humor I'm going for tonight.
What did you expect me to say? Whatever, just ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, whatever.
Ed, are you taking the Compound V?
Sure.
What power are you hoping you might get?
Maybe super strength or super speed or something. It might be fun.
Unfortunately, you got the ability to breathe underwater, and the side effect is severe allergy to water. So,
is that after?
You can breathe in the thing that makes you horribly sick.
So don't you get the side effect after, or is it during?
Yeah, all right. You got me on a technicality. Yeah, the side effect comes after, but you can no longer drink water.
So I don't drink water or bathe or anything anyway. So
win-win.
Laser, Mr. Saddle. No, that's Marco Sullivan. I thought that was Saddle Slap commenting from home for a sec. Laser eyes, but then you go blind. Yeah, poor Cyclops. He's only ever seen the world in red.
Yeah, true.
That's something to think about. Like when the light goes green, he's still sitting there in his car.
Yeah, but he dated Rogue, right? Like him and Rogue were a couple.
No, you're thinking Jean Grey.
You're thinking Jean Grey, I think.
The other Ray.
It would be good if he dated Rogue, because then she could take his power away for a moment, and he could see her for her true colors.
Well, there you go.
Literally, not metaphysically.
Yeah, I'll stop pretending I know comics.
Lee, are you taking Compound V?
Yes.
Well, you've lucked out, mate. You've been gifted the ability to talk to animals, so that's pretty handy.
Yeah.
But you do go bald. Balder somehow. So.
I mean, fuck, mate, win-win for me. It's like I'll take a liter of that shit. I like that already. I can't lose. Yeah, man, that's cool with me. I like it. Yeah.
What would you say to Lloyd?
What would you say to Lloyd? It's the first time you can truly speak to him.
Oh, man, I talk to the dude all the time anyway. So, like it's an everyday conversation. It's what he'd say to me. Oh, Tam and I have this joke, like, what voice would he have if he talked, Like, and just, he's not cultured, man. He's not artistic anyway. So he certainly wouldn't be French or European or anything. There's no doubt about that.
Can he be Australian?
Mate, yeah, he'd be a cheeky bugger, I tell you. He's not much fun back in the day when he had a sip of beer or two, because occasionally I used to pour half a can of beer in his water bowl, and he used to enjoy that. Get a bit chirpy. So yeah, he's definitely an Australian dude. Larrikin, I would say, from him.
Would he be like super excited, like Steve Irwin, like, oh yeah?
Well, actually, Alex, you know what? Have you met Lloyd? Because he probably would be like that, mate,
Crikey, I'm a fluking dog.
Oh, yeah.
I just sit around all day and sniff butts.
Yeah. So I'd probably, I don't know, man. It'd be pretty cool to talk to some birds, see where they'd been, particularly if you got them in, like they were passing through season, changing the seasons, you could sit out there. You'd have to be prepared for it, Rob. Like, are we talking, is this, what power you're getting and then you get it? Or this is...
You just wake up and the bird's singing. It's actually lyrics. It's actually like, I caught a worm. It was delicious. And you're like, choir of angels is singing that. And you go outside and it's a bird sitting in the tree.
Yeah. I don't know, man. There's a realm of possibilities, Rob. It'd be interesting to see what a fish had to say. Don't think that'd be a long conversation, but it would be interesting.
I'm wet.
Hey? Yeah, I'm wet. And then it gets sick because I gave it power V and that was, like it's down for it. The fish stays a fish but gets an itch. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. But anyway, I got a draw here.
Dave, are you taking the compound V and getting a random superpower?
Too right I am.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. You have been turned into a horse.
I can talk to Dave.
Oh, yeah,
we can bring each other.
How did you come up with that?
So that's both the power and the side effect, Dave, in one. So you get to hang out with your best friend Dinky.
Yeah.
But you're also a horse, I guess. So you can run like up to 40 kilometers an hour. You
How
also
are you
sleep
coming up with
up.
these bloody superpowers, mate? What do you got? You spinning a wheel or what?
I just have an overactive imagination that has kept me awake a long time. All right, Hadyn. Lucky last. There's one vial left of Compound V. Are you taking it?
I feel like I don't even get to say no at this point. I feel like there's an unspoken peer pressure in the room.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
Nick wouldn't take it.
Nah.
Well, your superhero name would be Oil Slick because you turn into something that's so slippery that no one can grab onto you, and you can slip into all kinds of like a bank heist. You could just like slip under the counter and all that sort of stuff.
Incredibly frustrating just going about your day-to-day life, though.
Yeah, like your clothes just slide right off. You can't hold it. Like everything's like trying to hold a bar of soap, but just like shoots straight out of your grip.
Sing about it, Rob.
Hadyn's so slippery. But as far as side effects go, I've run. Dave, you put me on the spot. I was like, yeah, I do have an imagination, and now I can't think of a side effect. All right, so you have an extra arm is the side effect that's coming out of the top of your head. So you can no longer wear hats, or at least for the 24 hours, but you can carry a bunch of hats with your extra arm.
But they slip right off anyway.
They slip right off, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it is a side effect, so can't have you enjoying it too much.
Like
now, when you run into Hadyn down the street, and he's got 3 hands, and one of them sticking out the top of his head, and he's really oily, and he reaches out to shake your hand, which one are you going for? And how are you going to hold on to it?
Who are you talking to?
I don't know. I'm more just wondering what this show has become, or what I've turned it into. Should we get serious for a sec? Should we actually talk to Hadyn properly about something?
Yeah, why not?
Certain book.
Let's do it.
Now it's the part of the show where we shine a big shiny spotlight on one of our creator friends. This week, we welcome
Name
and talk about their creative journey. Please, everybody, make some noise for
Name.
Yes, this week's name is Hadyn Spurrell. He of Chimera, Rick McClune. What else am I forgetting? Mr. I. Bunch of Reverie titles, Torn as well. But we're here today to talk about the book that he has been working on for a while now, and it's finally here. The much anticipated Satellite science fiction anthology. There it is there. Show us. Hold it up so the world can see. Look at that pretty thing.
Color.
So Hadyn, tell us a little bit about this book, how it came about. Sell it to us, pitch us, tell us.
Yeah. Okay. So the book is an anthology. You've done the pitch for me. It's a science fiction anthology. Basically, it leads off of the premise of what happens after the Earth is uninhabitable anymore, and people have to take off into space and rebuild. So not a super original concept, but the idea was that I wanted to use this as a premise from which contributors could pitch an idea. Because what I was really interested in was that sense of collaboration and community and relationships and what happens when we go through just severe tragedy. And I thought that the end of the planet was a good enough analogy for that. So it was it came about for a couple of reasons. One was that I was studying at the time, and I wanted to do my research project on comics. And I've always sort of been fascinated by what authorship is in comics, and the fact that it's so collaborative, and yet authorship is understood as a very singular concept. So that's the sort of boring, very technical sort of origin for the book. And then from there, it was also this desire to actually put something together of my own. It had been quite a while. I sort of put out Chimera as the first comic that I wrote originally, and then found an artist and worked together, and we put out 3 issues. And since then, I've been lucky enough to work with Gary at Reverie and a whole bunch of other people. But there was this sense that, okay, what now? Like, I've written a bunch of things for other IP, and it's been, great experience, and I'm continuing to do that. But, there's obviously more. You need to challenge yourself in new ways as a creator. And this was a chance to do that both as a writer, because I do write several of the stories in this, but also as a comics editor, which was, a really unique challenge, and one that I certainly, learned a lot from, and one of those being that I have a lot to learn.
How did you go about? Yeah, how did you go about finding contributors for the book?
So I put out a pitch. Well, sorry, I didn't put out a pitch. I put out a call out. Basically, it was, it was an outline of what the book was envisioned as. So it was, this is an anthology. It's aiming to do X, Y, and Z. And I asked writers to pitch me an idea and just show me some scripts or other work that they've done in the past. And then for artists, I asked for any art that they'd done, whether that be in comics or if they were new to comics. Otherwise, I didn't want to exclude anybody. So some of the creators in the book, like yourself, Rob, have been doing it for a very long time. And then, some of the others are quite new to it. And I thought that was a really, really fun and exciting approach. So, some people were students. There's a few creators from overseas. A couple of the stories I've written and drawn, rather than a collaborative process. So there's a whole range of different styles in the book, and that was sort of what I wanted to achieve, and I think I did that. So that didn't really answer your question, but basically it was a call out. I got pitches, and then I sifted through those pitches and reached out to people who I thought would be a really good fit for the book.
So for those playing at home, that's a long link that I just put up. But if you go to ownanindie.com and just in the search put either Hadyn Spurrell or Satellites, and the book will come up. That's a good spot to grab it. Otherwise, I'm sure it'll pop up at the comics shop in the coming weeks.
Yep.
So you were doing it as part of it began as sort of like part of your thesis type thing. What did you learn? This will be a two-part question. What did you learn about making your own comic book, and what mistakes and stuff did you learn? Did you make that then informed how you? Well, let's start with that one. What did you learn about making a book, and what mistakes did you make, and all that sort of good stuff?
So a lot of the things I learned and mistakes I made were probably around the, I guess, the more professional side of putting together a book and editing and publishing something. So there were a few sticky situations in which people departed from the book. There are ways in which I could have performed my role better, being more communicative with people. And I think that those are just things. I think those are life lessons. I think we all have experiences like that, whether we're creating comics or whether we're doing a day job or what have you.
Yeah.
And the best you can hope for is that the people involved can walk away and no hurt feelings as a result. As on a purely comics perspective, I guess one of the things I did learn was that I was coming at the editing process as a writer, and I knew that from the very beginning, and I wanted to try and not allow that to impede on how I was operating with the other collaborators. But there was definitely a sense that I was able to play a better role as an editor for the writers than perhaps for the artists. I don't have that artistic background, that knowledge, and that experience. So from a technical standpoint, I probably wasn't able to be the editor that a comics editor needs to be for an artist, which I find really fascinating just about comics production in general. And that's why editing in comics is so different. And changes so much depending on who's who the publisher is, who the actual editor is. Like I've done some reading, and an editor at DC is doing things far differently to what an editor at Marvel or Image is doing, because a lot of them have come from a creator's background, and they have their own strengths and weaknesses, and that bleeds into their practice.
A big thing that you've discussed with me and was an impetus for this book is, as you mentioned, authorship in comics. What is it that fascinates you about that aspect of it? And I guess what sort of things did you learn about or discover about the authorship of comics? Like, can you explain what it is when you say like the authorship of comics for those who don't know?
Yeah, okay. I'll try and condense. So I submitted the research project a little while ago, and I'll try and condense that to a very short answer, without hopefully hurting any feelings. But basically, comics authorship is kind of like not really understood, I don't think. So, you think of an author and you think of a writer, generally speaking, and historically. And obviously there are reasons for that. And it dates right back to playwrights in the 17th century and 18th and whatever. Like, you can go back in time, blah, blah, blah. But that does mean that, as I guess a society and culturally, we probably don't generally understand what it means to author something that requires a whole bunch of people to be involved. So naturally, we tend to emphasize or prioritize or focus our attention on often a writer, sometimes both the writer and artist, sometimes the artist. Like, it's changed throughout history, and we can all, like, everyone in this room knows all this stuff. Like, we can all name artists and writers who have been sort of they've become myth, right? Like, there are these creators who are larger than life. And I think that that's at the expense of the people they work with sometimes. So that's kind of the premise from which I was approaching this project.
So sorry, Hayden, is this something like you're talking about kind of film production? You'd have a producer, and then everybody would give producer like a lot of credit because they get all the creative people together, or?
I mean, kind of. I think there is some similarities when you look at film and comics in terms of like a director is the celebrated, person in a film because of auteur theory, and sometimes that they've written the screenplay and sometimes that sort of celebration of them is earned, but we generally forget about the fact that a lot of people put a lot of time and effort and creative talent into sort of the work that we're sort of consuming. But it's a really complicated topic because you can't then say, okay, well, should we be talking about all 10 people who made a comic or all the hundreds of people who made a film? Like it's there is no, like, the idea wasn't to criticize comics or criticize society, but just to explore it and try and understand it a little better.
It's okay to criticize society. Go for it. This is a show, Vent.
Do you think the whole project you walked away with a better idea of sort of that question you were posing, or have you left it more informed but just as confused or something like that?
God, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
the people I spent a lot of time with at uni doing this project can probably attest to the fact that I had no idea what I was doing pretty much until the day I submitted. So whether or not I actually learned anything from the project, I think that at the end of the day, I got to study something I really enjoy, and I also got to produce a book that I'm really proud of. That the cover that I flashed up, that's this art just blows my mind. The artist's name is Lauren Tan, and she's just a super talent. All the people in the book were incredible to work with, and I just think that I got to make something that wouldn't have happened if I didn't, if it were not for a whole bunch of people, both people in the book and people outside the book. I had a lot of support along the way, and that was awesome.
If I show some pages, do you want to just like maybe give us a little couple of words about each one? Maybe sure. Like starting. I'm not sure what I've got here. I'm just putting them up in the order they're here.
So that's
I recognize that art though. I think Robbie does too.
Yeah. So he was one of the two creators who wrote and drew their own stories. So he didn't work with anyone outside of myself. And he was great. He was so great to work with. He was really receptive of edits that I had to offer. He seemed really appreciative, and I appreciated his time and patience. We did 3 or 4 rounds of edits, both script and there was a few like lettering things in the later stages, but his story came out really nicely. It's a 2-page sort of comedy about a couple who get a robot because they want help maintaining their life, and the robot gains sentience and realizes it doesn't want to be a slave anymore. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if Robbie's had a read of it just yet, but yeah,
I have.
It came out really nice.
In the early stages, I had a read. And
nice!
I thought it was so funny.
So were you involved? Sorry. Finally, someone else is talking except me, and then I talk over him. Good times. Were you involved with Peter from the script stage, or was it a case of here's everything finished and then editing what's there? Or
I got a script from him initially, so I edited the script, not super heavily because he's a talented writer and artist, and he sort of knew what he wanted to do from the start, so I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to offer anything significant. But yeah, that felt like a really natural process working with Peter. I think that hopefully he agrees that I think it was hopefully he feels that the story came out stronger for the time that we spent together on it.
Yeah. Satellites, speaking of Peter Wilson, also serves as my 7th time sharing a book with Peter Wilson.
Nice.
Right.
And I believe, so 7th, and so we have 8. What's number 8? I can't remember. Vamoose 4 will be together, will be our 8th. And there is a 9th. I just can't remember what it is. Something else we're both in.
What's more impressive is how quickly those books have come out. Those 8 books that you've been in together have come out in the last 2 years. And, I could be wrong.
Well, this guy's a big part of that. This guy just over here. And then, so tell us about this.
So that's the story called The Real You. The artist is Kira Tucker. She's, I believe she lives in Melbourne. Yes, she lives in Melbourne. The writer, Tom Levine, he lives in America. And so that was one of the opportunities to grab 2 people who obviously didn't know each other, and they live on other sides of the world, and just pair them and see what happens. They didn't work closely from the script stage. I guess, whether or not that's obvious, but so I worked with Tom on his script initially. Again, didn't have to do a whole lot of work with him. It was a pretty strong script to begin with, and then it went to Kira. And then I lettered it at the end. Yeah. And it's a really, really pretty story. It's really nice.
And then this is some art I recognize. Someone I've worked with a bunch, Ken Best.
Yeah. Yeah, and what was really awesome was that we were able to get Jeff Edis to color it as well. And he was great to work with. He's a very generous person, and he's very talented as well, as you can tell. So yeah, Liam Merrick wrote the script, and again, same deal. I paired 2 people who hadn't met each other, and sort of let it go from there. They worked. I believe they worked quite separately. So once Ken had the script, he sort of just went away and did his thing, and I think that's fairly common. Although, feel free. If anyone in this room has any thoughts on how collaboration has worked for them, I'd love to hear it. Because I was curious about how involved the artists maybe wanted to be in the storytelling, and the project didn't allow for that kind of experiment. It was a bit too unwieldy in the end, but that was one thing that I was curious about was, does the artist feel that they want to be more involved in the storytelling? Do they feel that they're equally involved? All those questions. I find it really fascinating. Lee, you look like you're deep in thought. Do you have any?
I'm just looking at my drawing, mate. Just making sure it looks okay. I'm absolutely listening to it. I nearly answered the question. Then I thought I talked about the V thing too long and should let other people talk. And I was having this, argument, man, with myself. But no, I've enjoyed collaborating with a handful of people, so it's I can definitely understand that. I was very lucky that working with Rob, he was very open to. I guess some changes never really were spoken about, I suppose, to a degree. Were they, Rob? They were sort of more of an organic thing that just came, with the work between myself and Rob and Ryan and drawing and adding things and that. So it was a bit of a different feel, because the script was there and a few little things changed with bits and bobs and stuff. And so I don't know, mate. I've had a good time. So that's the only collaboration I've ever done, other than with Tamara on Battle for Bustles. So that's is what
Definitely
it is.
It depends on the relationship as well. It's the same with me and Ben Sullivan. We have worked together so much at this point that we just trust each other to get on with it. And if we have ideas, we tend to back each other in.
Yeah. It's a good thing to have that, mate. Spedsy said the other week, it's funny. find those people. I guess it's like dogs, mate. You get a pack of dogs, and you might get 5 or 6 of them all like each other, and the others don't. So I mean, people are the same. Creative ideas are the same. So I guess you just got to be lucky to hit that winner. Really, it's all a chance. So if you don't like it, don't go back. It's just like, okay, done. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, in the case of you and me, Lee, it was like, you made some changes, but you showed me pencils, and you were very sort of like, hey, what do you think? Are you cool with this and stuff? And it's like, I mean, and I myself, I write something for myself, and then when you're drawing, you find something else. And, I'm a fan of your stuff, and you found something else, a better way to show something, and it was a no-brainer. That just like, hell yeah, it's cool, it looks amazing. In particular, you turned a 6-panel page into a splash, which is was crazy. It was very daunting to letter it, but I think the whole book is all the better for that page. I think it works.
Yeah, that was a fun page, man. Mind you, though, that those 6 panels that you gave me for that caused me some headaches. Let me tell you, it's like I belted through a couple of pages and stuff, like not in great detail, but trying to get it to fit, and then it just. Look, I'll be honest with you. I'm a fan of the splash page. I got to tell you, and it's one of those. When in doubt, Leroy, go the splash, man. And I just felt it worked well. So
yeah, well, it did. But that's enough about us. Let's
What's got a question for Hadyn?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think that sort of has a lot to do with what we were just talking about, and I think it often depends on the relationship that might exist already. If it is a writer and artist who have never met, and again, I'm no authority on this. I'm not involved in big publishing, which is where this sort of thing probably tends to happen more often than where we're doing things. But I think it is important that the editor facilitate that relationship. And sometimes that is probably going to be challenging. Like if I remember reading about, I don't know if anyone's read any of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's work together. They worked on Batman for several years. I think they still work together still. But they really didn't get along when they first started working together because Scott Snyder was a bit precious about his scripts. And Capullo was just kind of like, I do things this way, and you're kind of like, you're being overbearing, and you're expecting me to fulfill your vision, and that's not what this is about. And I think that was one of the interviews I read that kind of sparked this curiosity in me, was that sometimes writers do come to comics and think that it's their medium in some ways, and that an artist will ultimately deliver their sort of golden goose or whatever.
We've got a few more pages here to take a look at.
All right, cool.
This was the other writer artist who worked solo. So his name's Ben Humeniuk. I think I've said that right. I may have said it differently last time. I really enjoyed his spot coloring on this. It's really pretty. But his story is sort of this interesting one about faith and about like what history means when all the focus is on moving forward. So, they're trying to find a new home, but the main character is learning that understanding the history of humanity, or the history of the people that he didn't think were important does matter, because what else is there? Like, no idea.
At Chris Wood on Instagram, I believe is his handle. Chris is an amazing artist, been on the show before. Working on Coffee Table, I think, is his latest project, and obviously does the Bad Harvey books as well. Now this won't be awkward at all. Whee, there we go, nice. When in doubt, splash it out.
That's right, man. That true word's never been said.
Tell us about working with this son of a gun.
Ooh. Yeah, I had to include that one. Got that Rob Lyle guy. Hardest artist I've ever worked with, I reckon.
How about just tell us about the story? Because, this is already awkward.
So, I mean, can you talk about the story without talking about the creators? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. All right. I'm not here. I'll go on.
Okay, so Rob and I came up with the bare bones of this idea on a whim outside his car after a day at the pub on one of those Melbourne creators meetups. God, how long ago was that? That's probably a year ago now.
Yeah.
It's how long this book took to put together. But we came up with it, and then we went our separate ways. And I basically wrote the script on the tram home because I was just feeling pretty into it. And Rob had never worked with a writer before, so this experience was actually very relevant to what I was interested in. This is a guy who hadn't, in many ways, had that collaborative experience, at least from the perspective that we were approaching it. Correct me if I'm misspeaking there, but we have a relationship, we know each other, so we trusted each other. So I gave him a script and he went away and smashed it. And I really enjoy Rob when he goes dark on his palettes, and I tell him that over and over. And I thought that something set in space would be a really interesting challenge, maybe, but it would just be fascinating to see the result of. So I was a little bit selfish in that regard, and it came out really, really nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I've said on this show, particularly in the early days, that I fear full blacks, and so this was trying to challenge myself to use a bunch of full blacks and stuff. And this goes back to what we're saying. I believe this was a 3-panel page in the script, but
that's right. Yeah,
but it was something like, I just thought the robot needed to be seen as dormant and then waking up, and just I made a few decisions, sent them to you, and said, "What do you think?" And it was funny because I think I said to you, "Yeah, I've got time. If it's like, can we just do 4 panels a page or something?" But then once the script came, I was sort of like, I didn't feel like I was doing it justice to.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that. The idea was it would be a 4-pager and it would be 3 horizontal panels a page, and it would just be this quite brisk sort of easy read. And obviously,
I think this was during Presents 2 or something. I had 8 pages of Chiloni due, and I was just like, I can't do it. And then we'll get the final one we've got here. Oh, thanks, Chris. That's amazing.
I have a question for both you, Rob and Hadyn. Sorry if this was already answered. Maybe I'll just pay attention to my GIF. But how did you, Rob and Hadyn meet? Is there an interesting story to it?
I don't know how interesting it was. So I worked in a comic book store, and I wasn't there, but I came in for a shift, and there was some new books on the rack. One was Rick McClune #1 and Chimera #1, both written by Hadyn. I looked at them and I was impressed by them. I bought them both, and I was like, "What's this Reverie thing?" Spoke to Gary Deller, and then Gary Deller invited me and Hadyn to his house. We'd never met, but Hadyn was on the way, and so Hadyn said, "Hey, did you want to pick me up?" We'd been talking just in text a little bit, and we had an hour in the car, and I don't know, we got on like a house on fire.
Did I ask for the lift? How presumptuous.
You did, yeah.
Jesus.
Love on the 3rd or 4th text?
Yeah. And so I have a thing about when you get into a car. I never asked you this. It would have been too awkward, but what did my car smell like when you got in? When you step into someone's house, you can immediately you get a picture of, you go, "Oh, that's how this house smells." You get into someone's car.
Look, I don't think I want to tell you.
Okay.
Old meat pies.
You're right, though.
If I'm ever in Melbourne, can you just drive me someplace? Because I'm curious about your car smell.
All right, last page here. What do we got?
So
No,
Grace
4 and
Stewart's the
20.
artist. She's Melbourne-based. The writer was Erin Keepers. Again, she's from America, so this was similar to that other pairing where I took, two people and threw them together to see what would happen. And that story in particular was really fascinating to be involved with. The two creators were very much involved basically from the go. Again, got the script edited with the writer. Once we got the artist involved, though, it became this really we were on Discord and we were they were having really fascinating conversations that I was basically mediating / peeking over the fence and eavesdropping on in some ways. It was really interesting to sort of just see that back and forth. And the artist had some really the artist added a whole page. That story was going to be 2 pages. And the artist basically messaged us both and said, look, I think this panel on page 3, at the top of page 3, I think it needs a whole page. I think it needs to be a splash. And she was very right. And it came out really beautifully. So, I mean, that one, more than any, I guess, spoke to that whole concept of, like, the writer isn't the only storyteller there. And everyone in this room knows that. But, I think sometimes it does still need to be said, and I think it's easy to overlook. Maybe not when you're within the industry, but I don't think it's quite understood as broadly or as widely as it should be. And so I was really impressed by how that story came together and how willing the writer and artist were both prepared to make compensations, I guess, on some things when they were complete strangers. They could have been. I actually sent him a selfie just like that when I asked as well.
I bet you did.
Sorry. Go.
When you talk about the relationship between the writer artist and you were eavesdropping and stuff, are you hinting towards things not working out? Did it get a bit heated and then you had to just jump in to cool things down, or
no? It's almost a shame that I didn't get to have that experience. That would have been fascinating. No, this was very much a case of I mean, there was a little bit of back and forth, and there would be times where the writer might have things that they believe needed to be there, but that it was never contentious. It was always well thought out, well explained, and also, it was just a really professional, but really sort of friendly environment.
Sound a bit disappointed.
Only for my research project, man. I could have written so much on that conflict if it had happened.
And then the big question, what's next? Will there be an issue 2? Will there be a different anthology? Or are you on to complete other things now?
Yeah, good question. It's sort of been a back and forth on that. Early on, I definitely intended for not to have an issue 2 of satellites, but to potentially take this concept of themed and genre sort of anthologies and maybe continue it, do like horror next or what have you. And that sounds really appealing. But this book was a lot of work. It sort of happened while a lot of personal stuff was going on, and it turned into quite a challenging experience. So the short answer is nothing's happening straight away, and at the moment I am focusing on my writing. But I'm certainly not against, working in an editorial capacity, and if people are willing to, willing to work with me again in the future, then I'd be a fool not to take that up.
Well, I know me and Peter Wilson are looking for a 10th book to join forces on. So Satellites 2, here we come.
Plug it in.
Yeah, and not to get too deep in the woods on the personal thing, but I just realized I've never asked you. Has your dad seen Satellites now?
No, he'll be seeing it Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess context, my dad got really sick about a year ago. and so I somewhat dedicated the book to him, and I'm looking forward to him checking it out. He's not a comic book reader, so he's probably going to be kind of like, what the hell is this? But hopefully he, he'll probably politely be grateful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, nothing will force Hadyn to do a number 2 more than an absolute huge sellout of issue 1. So you can head to ownerindie.com right now. You can type out that long URL, or just search Satellites at Owner Indie or Hadyn Spurrell, and it's the first book that comes up.
Yeah.
Now, I would be remiss. So, firstly, thank you so much, Hadyn, for joining us.
Waffle so much.
No, it's great. Waffles are delicious. So let's check in with Mr. Dye and see what he's up to.
Oh, that's a good one, Dave.
Nice.
Familiar with the show or the comic at all, Dave?
Beg your pardon?
Were you familiar with the show or the comic at all?
No.
So this is all just one of these days, Dave, you're going to pick the character and we're all going to draw someone that you know about and the rest of us are clueless about.
Yeah. All right then. I don't know.
Like next week's show's already started.
You know Ben Boyang?
No, well, that's good. We don't know who it is. I want us to all not know, and then you can take the host spot. And
all right,
welcome
St.
back,
Louis
Mr.
Field, one of them, something like that. So what I've done here, I've inked it, and I'm using watercolor pencils, and I've coloured it in, and now I'm just going in over with fresh, clean water to blend and make that colour come out. That's what happens when you add that bit of water to them. It brings out the richness of the colour.
yeah, I bought a set of watercolor pencils, and I could not get them to do what you're doing with them. All I did was make a wet mess.
Well, some of this I've used a different. I didn't use Indian ink tonight. I used one of these felt tip pens.
Oh yeah.
And of course I didn't wait very long. I rubbed out the pencil because I found out last week that the graphite pencil sort of blended and muddied the colours a bit.
Yep.
So I tried rubbing out a lot of the pencil tonight, but it's smudged. So you can see this. I don't know if you can see it, but this has gone all grey here because of that. Probably if I had left it longer, it may not have had that, but I'm in a bit of a hurry.
Yeah.
That might be why. If I had given it more time to dry properly, it might have been okay and not smudged.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sis, should we have a look at some of the other art?
Hell yeah, we've got some good arts coming tonight. Let's look at Dan Mays first.
Oh,
Do a
good.
double click so everyone sees it.
Oh, nice, Dan.
That's cool.
I can't see it. Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, you
Ready.
see it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I got it now. Yeah, ready, Dan.
Yeah, nice muscles, nice shadows. Great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I love the things on his shoulders.
Yeah, it's that's definitely the TV show version. Yeah.
I like it when you take the picture down and my face is like crammed up against the camera because I'm always trying to.
Oh. Okay, so we've got Nick Mays.
Oh,
So we've got two
that's
Mays.
cool.
You go down and up.
Very good.
I need it. Okay,
Oh,
sorry.
he's got blood all over his hands. What's the go with that?
He's an evil guy.
He's a psychopath.
Ah, psychopath.
He gets up to no good, Dave.
He gets up to no good, Dave. He kills a
And
lot
he-
of people.
Gets a lot of blood on his hands, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great work, Nick.
So does he actually? What's he rip them apart? Does he or something?
Oh, he does a myriad of horrendous things, mate.
Yeah, Dave. He's basically an unhinged Superman. So
Yeah.
He's trying to play Mr. Nice Guy, but if you look at it in the wrong way,
I
he'll
see. That's
give
why
you whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, to the public, he's trying to be Superman, but in private, he is definitely not Superman.
So that's the link with those questions you were asking us. Right, now I understand that.
Sorry, I should have been
Are
clear.
you ready for your Spedsy?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let's bring it up twice.
Nice.
Oh, see, this is what we're talking about, Dave.
Oh, right, I'm with it. Jeez.
Who's the big fella?
Who's the
Is this
guy?
a spoiler for the show, Rob?
No, that was meant to be. He's ripped Butcher's head off. That's the protagonist, I guess you would say.
Which he probably wants to do very badly.
I was trying to. I don't know if I got it, but I was trying to do his unaffected, his pretend smile sort of thing that he does.
Yeah.
For a second, I was looking for the beanie. I thought it might be Ed.
No, I only kill Ed's characters in my pictures, not actual Ed.
Not Ed himself, no.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm understanding this correctly, this one's a bit of a controversial one. I might be misinterpreting it, but...
Oh, yes.
Why is it controversial?
So that's the last scene in the end of season 2 is him, on the top of a building, getting to know himself a little bit better.
What?
Because he's the Homelander and he can do whatever he wants.
It's a good drawing.
This is not a kid show, is it?
It's a bit like Donald to me, that one.
Yeah.
It's a really
How do you
good
know
face.
that's an invisible woman in front of him?
There's someone
This
who
one
would be
came in
horrifying.
late, so but it's definitely one of my favorites.
Oh, Dana.
DK.
Oh,
If I don't know any better, I would say that is milk that he's drinking.
Yeah.
Got all the bulges where they should be, hasn't he? Muscles on his shoulders, I'm talking about. I'm talking about on his shoulders.
Of course, Dave. Yes. Nice one,
Come on,
DK.
DK. Ripper.
Dana's going to be on the show tonight, but her brother has COVID. And he also has the webcam in his room where he's isolating. So she was like, yeah, I'll be on. I love the boys. And then she was like, damn it, my COVID-infected brother has my webcam. So here we are. Is that Davo commenting on his own picture? Nice, Davo. Thanks, Dan.
Good on you. Nice to be humbled, Davo.
Nice work.
Good on you.
I've got a smile from a
Duncan.
Facebook user. Nice.
Thank you, FU.
Got a bit of a comment about tonight's party. Bit of a sausage party tonight.
Yes, we had two ladies on the show tonight, both DK and Angie Spice, but one's got an under the weather brother and one's got an
under the weather
self. So yeah, Angie had a big convention weekend last weekend, and it's she's exhausted.
David's defending himself there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. Right, I'm glad you.
Going to Supernova? Any Supernova convention goers? Leave a comment downstairs or
downstairs. Two obvious friends of the show. Chris Pitcairn will be at Supernova, so go check out Chris and give him our love and buy his books. And then I believe friends of the show, Sarab and Don Ticchio, will be releasing Zombie Basketballer at Supernova.
Oh, right.
Features
That's
our own.
amazing.
Yeah.
Which I can't wait to read. Speaking of things I can't wait to read, I got some books in the mail. Another friend of the show. You can see him right there.
Oh, you got your copies. Cool.
He of the Shadowy Daughter. So thank you so much, Morgan. Another successful Kickstarter from him. Can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, good on him.
And assisting. And
I've got more. Sorry. Yep.
No, that's it.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. So what else we got? Those Ed, do you want to hold something up? And Lee, you want to?
Yep, come
on. Nice.
Great work, Ed.
Oh,
That's
Ripper,
awesome.
mate.
I really like that one.
That is cool, Ed.
Bit of colour on that would have been really nice. All that red blood.
Look at that.
I can see the red.
Already
That's how good it is.
Yeah, I like that, Sis. Yeah, you can see the red even though it's not there.
Yeah. Thanks,
The
Ed.
black background
That's
is
right.
awesome too.
Yeah,
Ripper,
I love
mate.
that. Yeah.
Well done, Ed.
Thank you. Thanks.
Those are the ballsy things that I need layers for. I need layers in Photoshop. I wonder what a black line would look like in the background. Wee, look at that.
Oh,
sick.
sweet.
Sweet.
Yeah. Nice one, Lou.
Crazy.
Good.
Oh, he comes out his eyes,
Yeah, he's got laser beams, just like Superman.
not laser balls.
No, not
No,
laser
no.
balls like Ed's character.
Yeah, I'm sure Dennis is not going like
Copyright.
laser balls.
There's laser balls.
Yeah, laser balls. There he is.
Get him up on the screen. Get him up.
Yeah.
There we go.
Ed books are available at comics.shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Personally, I reckon Ed is won this one over Garth because laser balls always win over laser eyes.
Agreed. What about yourself, Robbie? Are you traditional or you've emailed it through?
I've emailed it
You've
through.
emailed it through. I'm a bit slow. Don't worry about me.
I've got one to show while you set that up, Tizzle.
Yeah, thanks.
Here's my
nice.
version of Mr. Homelander.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, good.
Hey.
Oh, goodness.
What's going on? If you're gonna because of
His
the
shoulder bird was smiling too.
You got laser balls.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, this is the most ball-heavy show we've ever.
It's like Jackass 4.
We're missing our ladies on the show.
There's no
Really.
women here.
It evolves too quickly otherwise.
It does. Well, we've got Robbie's here, so put up twice so everyone can see.
Oh, yes.
Good one,
Oh,
Robbie.
nice.
Oh, and that's nice shading you got in the inside the cake there.
Yeah.
That's a gradient.
Yeah.
Straight up gradient.
Never give away your secrets.
But it's the way you use
Still
it.
counts.
Nice,
Hey,
mate.
Robbie, where does your style come from, do you think? Do you know, do you have specific inspirations?
No, I don't know. It's just kind of. I did natural history illustration, so it couldn't be any more further from that back in the day. And I just, because I work in an IT field and I come home, I don't want to be doing really detailed stuff, so I just started to do, cartooning a little bit more, and it's just kind of developed over a bit of time.
Yeah, right. It's just such a distinct style. I just, like you can pick your stuff. I mean, we can all pick each other's, but I think yours is one of the more distinct.
It's the triangle eyes every time they get you.
Yeah,
Triangle eyes. Oh, that's what it is it? Triangle eyes.
And I think we might. Should we see some splishy splashies from the Sloppy Man? What do you think?
Yeah, I reckon we should.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Chris.
I'll bring it
Hey,
up.
Chris, go back in the show. Yeah, just skip it. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's a great one. I'm a favorite of this one. Woo!
That's amazing. Look at your eyebrow rings.
No, they're huge.
Because in the comic I was doing before, I kept forgetting them, and I noticed that in the drawing that they have them, so I had to make them bigger, so not to forget.
No, it's good.
Yeah, and like Sis, you're going to be an Australian comic book character. So this is not.
I'm about to be. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not so much a tribute to you as it is this soon to be hugely successful
Yeah, well,
Australian
there's
indie
Doug
character.
in there with me. So
Yeah.
I didn't see the cat first.
What's
And
his
so
name?
is that
Doug,
Doug
isn't it?
using his portal powers to
take me from dimension to dimension, looking for Carol.
And one dimension just happened to land right in the middle of Homelander's chest. Nice.
I can keep that up all night.
Well, I think it's probably time for us to start
Here's my
talking about
finished one. You want to see?
Oh yeah, let's go big Dave.
Nice.
Great work. Love the scales. Or what would you call it? The armor, the chainmail sort of?
Chain mail.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Tell you, the eagle looks good. I can't really see the smudging. Looks great.
Yeah, it looks great.
I
Dave
like
can see it.
I love the white on his forehead too. It's good. Great work, Dave.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. All right. Well, let me find the button. Let's do this thing then, hey?
Oh, you're finding the button? Okay, cool.
This poor person is looking through the newspaper for info on what projects our artists have been working on. And this lost individual is using a map to find where she can follow our artists on social media and buy their books. How about we save them the trouble and just tell them? We call this next segment Shameless Self-Promotion.
Woo, I'm prepared tonight. I'm going to promote Comic Shop. Australian indie goodness, one flat postage rate. So comics.shop. Check out, there's books there. Hayden's, who's hiding behind there, will be there soon as well as many others who are in this room. Over to you, Spedsy.
Thank you, Sizzle. All my stuff can be found at psychojanitor.com or at Spedsy on all the social medias, including TikTok. I now have a following list that rivals Alex Major. He has like 800,000 and I have 8. I have one of the digits that he has. But I have a short story that's just come out. It's in the pages of Satellites. What? So go to onlyindie.com and type in Satellites or Hadyn Spurrell, and you will find the me stuff in the him stuff.
But you can find us at comics as well, right?
Right. I recently became part of the comics family officially through the Presents #3. You can find Budgie alongside some work by Rob, Lee, many other, Alex. That's everyone. Yeah, it's cool to like finally just have my character up there with you guys. Very proud. So you can get that guy, get that book at comics.shop, as well as all my other Budgie products there too. Saddle Slap.
I don't have really much to say except for Saddle Slap. Check it out on Instagram. That's me. Yeah, Alex. There we go.
Triangle eyes, nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna take up all the time that Saddle Slap didn't take on. But anyways, follow Saddle Slap on his Instagram and they'll get more stuff. But I've also got comics. So I finally got my Comics Presents Noir. Sweet. So I get to share with a lot of people and just to list names as well. I have it all written down on the back. There's Rob Lyle, Alistair Lockhart, Lee Chalker, Nicholas Cleary, Ryan Vella, and myself. Anybody I missed? Sorry. And then I'm also in Vermoose. So buy that. Nice. There's lots of places you can buy it, but I think we're keeping a comic store. And also, if you're a store who's completely super shy to talk to artists, just go directly to Shane and he'll sort you out with whatever your favorite comic artist. Or if you don't know what is a cool upcoming comic artist, again, if you're a shop, go to Shane and order from him. I reckon probably there's deals and stuff, but don't go for me, go for Shane. Anyway,
just keep talking for me.
Yeah, no worries. And also I've shared with Vermoose just to give a shout out to Rob Lyle in that book, Nick May, Dave Dye, Hadyn Spurrell, who's also one of our guests, Emily Grace, Dana Lawson, Ben Sullivan, N.S. Kane, Chris Pitcan, Beck Haley, Peter Wilson, Robbie Donaldson, Millie Holton, and myself, and a Psycho Janitor. And then finally, another comic I'm in, and I'm sorry it's not an Aussie comic, but it's called the Kapowski Brothers. My friend Jason, there's a picture of him there. He's what it looks like. Yeah, I'm in his book. Where's my drawing? There you go. I'm in his book. So if you want to see, if you want a quarter of a page, of a page with me in there. So I'm in that book, and he's a British guy living in Hong Kong, and we both design toys at different companies. So that's that.
Good on you.
Sorry?
Good on you, mate. Excellent.
I'm about to wrap up. Sorry, guys. And then finally, Sloppy Bunny Tunes on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Webtoons. I'm going to post something soon.
Oh, cool.
You also forgot, Alex, where can people find you every Friday night?
Oh, they can find me here on this channel at the comics.ne. So make sure you like it. Even if you don't like me, please like it, because there's other people here that really need this more than me. So if you don't like me, click a like on it, share it to somebody. You can share, subscribe. Yes, subscribe, ring the bell, and then share it with people. And if you like it, share it. And if you find me annoying, share it. So you can write a disgruntled thing, go like, "Oh, I hate this guy," blah, 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 blah. But share it helps Shane. And then now finally I'll be quiet, and it's Ed's turn to talk for half an hour.
Wake up.
Thanks, Dave. I got my Patreon is Ed Keasley Art, and if you go and subscribe there, you get there's a limited edition red cover.
Oh, right.
Of my Last Chance comics.
Cool.
There's only 10 and one's already been taken. And I've got my Instagram is Ed Keasley Art as well. And you can get my Radical comic books at the comics.shop as well. So give it over to Lee.
Battleforbustle.com, Lee Chalker on Facebook, Battle for Bustle on Facebook, Comics Shop for more stuff. Always drawing, always got stuff available. So go and support these other artists like them that are out there doing comic books all throughout Australia. There's lots of you. So, keep up the good work and go and support everyone. And on to Dave.
All right. There it is. Thank you.
There you go. All righty.
That can be found in this book here.
Yes.
Presents Noir, number 3, arrived, and Presents number 3, arrived.
The only thing is, Dave, you got the wrong cover on the Presents.
You got to spread the love, mate. I finally got this one in. Lee.
Sweet. Thank you, Dave.
Excellent, mate. My stuff is available in the comics shop. This has come in from the printer finally, so I'll be able to start distributing that. That'll go up on the website, Owner Indie, tonight. Probably tomorrow I'll get around to putting that up.
Yep.
And so that'll be up there. And also I've been still working on more pages for my Beowulf and Grendel story.
Awesome. Amazing. Cool. Amazing.
Yes.
Wow. Can't wait. That was wicked. Next victim.
Dave, that's tight, man. Wow.
Wow, your grip is... Awaken, lads. Beowulf has taken the troll.
Nice. Naked dudes.
Look at that. Holy moly.
So good.
Yeah.
Is that where you're up to, Dave, or are you saving that heart panel till later?
No, yeah, that's where I'm up to. That's page 10. Yeah. So that'll still working on that. And that's all for me. Over to Hadyn.
I feel like I got to plug myself enough.
Go for it.
Quickly, but you can get Satellites at Owner Indie. But it will be available on the comics shop soon. You can also get Chimera at the comics shop too. And keep an eye on Reverie because I've got a few books out there and some to come in the near future.
Well, that's our show, is it, Sis? Did we do it?
We did it.
Win the game?
Hour and a half.
We did well.
All right, then, Sis, take us home.
Take us home. Well, that starts with this, of course. I'm loving the
yeah.
Are they slippers you got on there, Sis? Or
yeah, it looks like it actually. It's night. It's nighttime that I zap through to his guts. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone in the room.
The show has died. It is dead. But in 1 week, like a phoenix, it will rise again. So stop the crying at once. Instead, Head to comics.shop and dry your tears on a copy of Amazing Tales by Dave Dye. The Devil's Toilet by Spedsy. Comics Presents featuring Ed Kearsley, Tony Menzie, Duncan Pranavicius, Peter Wilson, Lee Chalker, Zach George, and so much more. The list is longer than this outro. See you next Friday for more drinking and drawing. Alright Sizzle, press the button. Sizzle. Don't make me come over there and butter your crumpet. Sizzle, doink the thing. I shouldn't have to scold you like this in front of your friends. Slap